feeling like you somehow want control of it. You want that power. You want the answers you want, and you want it when you want it. God will reveal things as it becomes necessary. And
in His time, yeah.
Right, exactly. And that's amazing. As I don't know, as out there as it sounds, yeah, it makes total sense that you didn't take money for it. And while some people might think, well, yeah, you're still dabbling in and playing with it, but the more layers of your life, the more of your life's foundation is built upon those things. Like just like anything else that you might do that's illegal or something, it gets harder to get out of that system, of doing whatever it is that you're doing. If
exactly.
That's your that's your link into living comfortably or whatnot. But absolutely, through the grace of God, you are you're here now, and 180 degrees difference. So that's just a complete miracle.
That's one.
Mark, how are you doing over there? Oh, go ahead, Lynn.
That's one of the things that the lady said that taught me everything. When I went and told her, when I started writing a book about my life, and I was bringing all this information in, it wasn't really channeling. It was just the beings were talking to me, and I was writing stuff down. But this was a different being than Abraham. Abraham is the ones that were leading me down the wrong path and telling me things like don't eat meat and stuff. And I found that in the Bible where it says, in the end, they will tell you not to marry and not to eat meat. I actually found that and I almost fell over when I found it. I was wondering about that. Let me ask you real quick. In that part where it says don't eat meat, what's that connected to? It seems like it's like connected to another fairly more widely known verse about something. Am I off base there? I can't remember what it is.
Because I was like right on base. I was like reading through that. I was like, man, this is all so true. Oh my gosh, this is like so perfect. And then I got to that part, and I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't really jive with what I was thinking that was about. Just because I couldn't think of any possibility why they would say don't eat meat. But I guess
that's. I don't know, except that I prayed about that afterwards, and then I found some more places in the Bible where God gave us, He gave us the animals to eat, and it's kind of like it's a gift from God to us for sustenance, and I think it's almost like it's not a sacrifice, but it's what's the word I'm looking for?
Perversion?
Thanksgiving. No, it's Thanksgiving each time that we eat, because God provided this for us. He put I was told these big long lies that I'll tell you the little short version of this. In the Garden of Eden, when Adam and Eve were there, and they were told not to partake of the tree of knowledge, that it wasn't knowledge, and it wasn't an apple that they were told not to do. They were told not to eat meat. I'm serious. And I was told that cannibalism is cannibalism. So if you eat any kind of meat, it's no different than humans eating humans. Now, these are the lies I was told.
Right. I could see that being like I could see them saying don't eat meat as a perversion of doing the opposite of what God would say. And I think, and this is not in any way a slight to those that are vegan or anything. I think that there are probably good reasons, but it does seem like it's so tied to the New Age. If somebody is very, very into the New Age, it also is inevitable that they will be, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying this is all vegans are this or all this are vegans, but, it does seem linked.
Go along. It does, because that's what I did. I went a whole year, and I did not eat one piece of meat. I mean, we're not talking, no shrimp, nothing. No meat of any kind. I went a whole year. And I don't know how I did it, but I did. And I don't remember. It was just when I found my way back to Christ, and I've just now started going back to church. Not just now, about the last 3 months, and I've been baptized, and everything that I ever was is gone. And this is, I don't want to offend anybody out there, but I'm telling you right now that I spent most of my entire life, from the time I got out of high school about 4 years ago. I spent it as a homosexual. And nobody's born that way. I think that is the demons. I think that's the devil. I really believe it is, because once I was baptized, all that's gone, completely gone. And then if you look at what Satan's doing, you know, he's trying to get all these, everybody to legalize homosexual marriages. And I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't mean to, but I'm just telling you that there may be cases out there that people are born that way, or they have too many hormones or something. But I thought that same thing about myself, but that's wrong. And all that's gone. And it's really kind of unbelievable, because I never even thought that part would happen. You know, that was kind of a shocker to me. But you know, anything to get away from God's creation of a man and a woman having a child is what Satan's about. And a lot of New Age people and a lot of Satanists and stuff like that are into this perversion of sex.
Right. You got me thinking. I've got some stuff to say about that, but you got me definitely thinking about. I could see like the New World Order, if you will, like when it really gets in full force, and this whole environmentalism, you know, kind of aliens and the rest of it, and New Age and this and that. I could see them like mandating no eating meat or something like that. I wish I could find that part in the Bible, because it's so linked to a lot of these like kind of Matthew 24 type things.
Can't remember where it is exactly. And see, don't get married. See, it's the same thing. And I'm serious. I don't want to offend anybody out there that's homosexual. I really don't. But in my case, and a lot of other people's cases that I know, they're just led into it. They do it, and I did it just because it was something different to do. And just like not eating the meat, it's the same thing, you know. Right. I think that we need to be honest, and I called in to be honest. Mark told me to call, and I'm telling people, you know, examine people's lives and pray about this, because you know there's a lot of people that are coming out of things right now, because there's this huge revival, I guess, going on. Let's see.
Absolutely. Mark, where are you at on all that stuff?
Well, you know, I thought it was all quite interesting when Lynn contacted me by email, and we spoke for I'd say a good hour and a half before we really settled in on doing a podcast. But I think one of the things that intrigued me most about Lynn's story and you know what I'd heard in that hour and a half was the fact that like what I saw in doing some of the Indigo research, she seemed to go into all of this New Age stuff very innocently. She wasn't charging money to do the Reiki treatment. She wasn't egotistical about all of this. I really think, and you can correct me, Lynn, if I'm wrong, but I really think that she went into this with a heart to do good for people. I think she found, or what she thought she found, was an opportunity to know certain things. I think that this supposed secret knowledge that they were going to share with her or impart on her, she felt she could use it for people's good. And, you know, I think there's a lot of people in the world today that get involved in a lot of this New Age and occult goings on that aren't necessarily going in with evil thought and evil intention and greed and all these other things, although that, you know, I'm sure that that's a large part of it. But at the same time, I think that there's a group of people out there who get involved in this type of thing innocently or wanting to help people, and I thought that was, you know, pretty fascinating. You know, Lynn mentioned about how, you know, if people think that demons can't heal or so forth, that they're wrong, and I, you know, I could see very quickly where if a demon can bestow some good onto someone, or what we would deem to be good, they could draw them closer to themselves. You see what I'm saying? And I thought that was a very, very interesting aspect of how Lynn got involved, and I think that was one of the big reasons that I said, hey, yeah, we really have to do this podcast. I don't know that, you know, we touched on absolutely everything, and, you know, like so many of the podcasts out there, I mean, you could spend hours, you know, going over a subject, but to me that was one of the more interesting aspects of her story.
Absolutely. And Lynn, it seems like you'd have a very unique and needed ministry because it's needed more and more. I mean, and you could, I don't know what kind of things you can do or whatever, but certainly the internet is a big place for your ministry, I'm sure. And by the way, I did find that place in the Bible. It's 1 Timothy.
I found it too.
1 Timothy 4, verse 1. And it's really appropriate. I'll just read it real quick. It says,
read those.
Now the Spirit speaketh expressly, that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron, forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats, which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth. For every creature of God is good, and nothing to be refused if it be received with thanksgiving. For it is sanctified by the word of God and prayer. That's some serious business right there. I also like how it says, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. And I know Frank definitely can see a lot of that with the Zeitgeist Challenge and stuff in these last days. I mean, it's like it's seared, they won't hear it.
No, it just becomes part of them. It just that is their identity. And,
what is that Zeitgeist Challenge? Something about that guy that did that video?
Yeah, that's something Frank and I have done. It's with a website called ZeitgeistChallenge.com where we ask people to prove what Zeitgeist, the movie, is saying because we found it to be an absolute lie. And so we're offering money to people, cash, if they can just prove it.
It's abomination is what it is. It's just another one of those lies. It fits right in there with what you just read. It really does.
Yeah, and it's packaged with 2 parts truth and 1 part that's complete fabrication and lie, and an attack on Christianity. And it is what it is. It's just opening the door for people to take a step into a new reality, a reality where Christianity is a farce, and the whole New Age concept of one happy religion is just, a step away.
Frank, you mentioned, 2 parts. Would you say 2 parts truth and 1 part lie? Yeah, I've said before 90% truth and 10% lie, and I think, people have to realize that truth is an essential part of the lie. Truth is an essential part of the deception. Any type of deception attempted to be perpetrated without a certain element of truth, and it screams of deception, and people would recognize it and run from it, and that's a big part of it. The truth element in the lie and in the deception is crucial, and I think that's why we were told to watch out for wolves in sheep's clothing, because sheep come across as truthful in many, many ways, and that goes back to the demon being able to impart a certain amount of healing or perhaps doing something that might come across as good. That's the truth portion of the deception, and with the acceptance of that, then the lie is much easier to perpetrate.
Yeah, and it's silly because it's not like a serpent in sheep's clothing. It's not something so ridiculous that it's not close enough. It's something that's walking on all 4s, and it looks like it's walking the walk, but it just isn't. And it's just amazing how powerful a lie can be. How an alternate reality can be built for people, an alternate perception of reality can be built for people just upon a very simple lie or a very, you just look at a simple lie and then you look at what we're dealing with, you look at all the layers to this thing, and it's just a really overwhelming plan that we just try to pick at and pull the layers back and say, no, look. Yeah, I could just talk for an hour on it, but I'll try to shut up so you guys can talk.
No, that makes sense, and it makes it difficult sometimes to expose lies to people because in the unlayering, you're exposing truths at the same time. You're showing people are seeing things that may make sense without understanding the deception. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but since the truth is blended with the lie, it